Over the weekend, the debate surrounding the controversial open letter took a significant turn, with revelations that the document, penned by a group of ANC Afrikaners, asserting that AfriForum and Solidariteit do not represent them, may have originated from a DIRCO employee with a notable background in South African intelligence. Now I will delve into the details of this individual, identified as Karen Burger, who, according to news sources, serves in the office of Zain Dangor at DIRCO. But first, allow me to provide some context and background for clarity. Now, for those who may not have followed the developments closely, last week I released a video on my Afrikaans channel, Suid-Afrika se Saga. I'll put a link in the description if you want to take a look there. Analyzing this group of originally 42 individuals, which has since grown to, I think it's about 50 signatories. The exact number does not really matter, as it is still a small group by any measure. These signatories authored a letter that explicitly rejects narratives of racial persecution against Afrikaners in post-apartheid South Africa. It criticizes the US refugee prioritization policy under the Trump administration for white South Africans. It denounces organizations like AfriForum and Solidariteit for allegedly misrepresenting Afrikaner identity, and cautions against the misuse of South African issues to bolster far-right ideologies globally. It is evident that this group represents a fringe minority within the broader Afrikaner community, one that aligns more closely with the ideological framework of the ANC, rather than traditional Afrikaner values. For this reason, I refer to them as ANC Afrikaners. While some have proposed alternative names, many of those suggestions are either outdated or have become so diluted in meaning that they fail to accurately describe this particular subset of people. As in any society, divisions into groups are inevitable, and I can assure you that there are far more than just these two factions. Even within the Afrikaner community, the number of subgroups rivals the array of international soccer teams or football teams, depending on your preferred terminology and the group you align with. This phenomenon is not unique to Afrikaners. It's a universal aspect of human societies. For instance, when referring to Americans, we generalize residents of the United States, encompassing both Republicans and Democrats under that umbrella term. And even then, under Republicans and Democrats, I'm sure divisions into smaller groups exist. But what is really wrong with this letter? Beyond its surface level rhetoric, this document is not merely an expression of differing opinions. It is a calculated effort that undermines legitimate advocacy and exacerbates divisions. Now, to fully understand its flaws, let's explore some theories behind its creation. The tangible damage it inflicts on groups like AfriForum and Solidariteit's work, reputations, and potential future support, and the role of this Karen Burger person in deepening the rift between the ANC-Afrikaner minority and the larger Afrikaner camp. The motivations for crafting such a letter appear multifaceted and deeply tied to political maneuvering. Now, one theory I have is that it serves as a deliberate attempt to ingratiate this group with the ANC and its international apparatus, including the often ineffective DIRCO. By echoing the ANC's narrative that post-apartheid South Africa is free of systemic issues affecting minorities, while glossing over persistent challenges like widespread crime, economic inequality, and the legacy of race-based policies, these ANC Afrikaners position themselves as compliant allies. The letter downplays documented disproportionate impacts such as farm attacks that have historically targeted white farmers at elevated rates due to rural demographics and lingering socio-political tensions, framing them instead as generic crime affecting all equally. Another plausible explanation is that the letter functions as a targeted disruption of AfriForum and Solidariteit's long-standing international lobbying efforts. These organizations have consistently highlighted ANC shortcomings, including threats of expropriation without compensation and affirmative action quotas that marginalize qualified Afrikaners in employment and education. The Trump administration's refugee policy, which allocates priority to white South Africans amid a reduced overall admissions cap, was influenced in part by such advocacy dating back to at least 2018 by dismissing AfriForum and Solidariteit as fringe entities without a legitimate mandate. The ANC Afrikaners effectively advanced DIRCO's agenda of neutralizing external scrutiny on the ANC government. This could stem from self-interest, as many signatories, academics, journalists, and consultants rely on government-adjacent networks for opportunities, funding, or influence, and fear repercussions if the ANC's international image suffers further erosion. The third theory revolves around the ANC's classic strategy of divide and conquer. The letter sows discord by claiming to embody an inclusive Afrikaner identity, while disparaging those who challenge the status quo. It falsely suggests that the majority of Afrikaners are resigned to living under the ANC's race-based laws, when in fact most prefer to remain in South Africa and support efforts to dismantle discriminatory policies. This is not genuine bridge building. It's a ploy to fragment the Afrikaner voice, benefiting the ANC's hold on power amid its ongoing governance failures. The letter's impact extends far beyond rhetoric, posing real threats to AfriForum and Solidariteit, established organizations with substantial memberships that grant them a clear right to represent their constituencies globally. AfriForum, with over 300,000 members, focuses on community safety, legal advocacy, and cultural representation, while Solidariteit, a trade union with roots dating back to 1902 and representing over 600,000 families, that's approximately 2 million individuals, emphasizes labor rights, education initiatives, and opposition to racial quotas. These are not marginal groups. They hold legitimate mandates from large segments of the Afrikaner population to advocate anywhere, including the United States, where their efforts have raised awareness of issues like language rights and minority protections. By portraying them as hijackers of Afrikaner culture, promoting exclusionary and racialized agendas, the letter tarnishes their reputations, associating them with far-right extremism. This could deter international supporters such as donors, policymakers, or allies who might avoid engagement to evade controversy. And domestically, it risks alienating potential members by fostering skepticism about these organizations' intentions and effectiveness. Solidariteit's practical contributions through professional guilds, skills training and self-reliance programs that enable Afrikaners to thrive in South Africa become overshadowed, potentially leading to reduced membership growth and financial resources. Similarly, AfriForum's campaigns against farm murders and for cultural self-determination, which primarily benefit those committed to staying rather than seeking refugee status, suffer from this misrepresentation. Moreover, the letter perpetuates the falsehood that Afrikaners broadly seek refugee exodus, ignoring the majority, including supporters like myself, who value AfriForum and Solidariteit's work for its focus on domestic resilience and reform. This distortion not only undermines their credibility, but could erode future support, as disillusioned individuals question the value of involvement in what is framed as divisive cultural wars. Central to this controversy is Karen Burger, a DIRCO director whose involvement has been confirmed by credible sources, including AfriForum CEO Kali Kriel. Burger, working under Zain Dangor, the DIRCO Director General, known for the department's alignment with ANC foreign policy, played a key role in drafting and promoting the letter. Her background includes ties to the South African intelligence and state security, as well as a recent posting at the SA Embassy in the United States, raising questions about potential conflicts of interest and government overreach in what should be a civil society matter. Burger's actions have intensified the schism between the ANC-Afrikaner faction, which is a small elite group of about 50 signatories listed on the Afrikaners vir SA.co.za website, comprising of academics, journalists and consultants, more attuned to ANC narratives, versus the predominant Afrikaner camp, which prioritizes heritage, preservation and opposition to discriminatory laws. The ANC-Afrikaners feign commitment to diversity and reconciliation while aligning with the regime responsible for eroding Afrikaner rights over the past 3 decades. The disparity in support is stark when comparing the signature data. The ANC-Afrikaner site boasts less than 2,000 names, reflecting a narrow virtue signaling bubble. In contrast, the counter-petition on change.org, "In Our Name, Thank You, President Trump," has amassed 6,814 signatures and continues to grow as of today. This petition expresses gratitude for the US policy as a precautionary measure while emphasizing dedication to building a future in South Africa, explicitly endorsing AfriForum and Solidariteit. With so much more support, it underscores that the Afrikaner camp represents the overwhelming majority. Those who cherish their identity, reject ANC race-based policies, and view these organizations as essential for sustained presence in this country. Burger's DIRCO-backed interference has transformed a potential internal discussion into a public spectacle that ultimately serves the ANC's interests, exposing the ANC Afrikaners as disconnected elites more loyal to governmental corridors than to their community. So in conclusion, this letter is not a pursuit of truth or justice, but a manipulative tactic that harms the Afrikaner community it purports to represent. AfriForum and Solidariteit will persist, fortified by their extensive support and proven impact. However, the ANC Afrikaners influenced by DIRCO's strings must be recognized as enablers in the ANC's evasion of accountability. For Afrikaners determined to stay and prosper in South Africa, Aligning with the majority of Afrikaners is the path forward, rejecting this divisive narrative outright. Let me hear your thoughts in the comments section, and thank you for watching. If you found any value in this video, please do like, share and subscribe, and I will catch you in the next video.